This election 2024 will be one of the elections that will come with so much in terms of who gets to win what, who gets to be where, and all that, because it's a big decider for the economy, it's a big decider for the nation, and it's a big decider for the citizenry. And so everybody is looking forward to what is going to happen come elections 2024. Don't forget that the NDC is also looking forward to bringing their running mates for the vice presidency in terms of who supports the former President Mahama. That is going to happen on the 7th of March. They are looking forward to bringing that name. And Professor James Nanajiman has been in the space. There are suggestions that she's going to be changed, but other people from the party are also insisting that she will be remained as the advice to go into the elections 2024. Now, concerns were raised about her contribution in terms of what happened in the past elections. And, well, some members of the NDC have supported her and her candidature and are hoping that she's maintained. In fact, Mutala spoke about it and said that he doesn't think that there should be a need for any change because he believes that the woman has done very well for herself. She's contributed very well and deserves to still be maintained as the one that will lead the campaign and eventually becoming the vice president, hopefully, if the NDC is able to come into power. All right, so there's so much going on in terms of elections 2024. And don't forget that where election headquarters has been launched, duly launched, and so we'll be bringing you our updates right here on all our platforms, from radio, online, television, and in terms of our coverage, the multimedia group is always ready to bring you all of that. So do well to stay with us, all our channels on television, radio, and online. And we are the only authoritative media house that will always bring you credible news that you need in terms of elections. So yeah, stay with us. Away from that, let's get into some other stories. And Akufo-Addo cautions countries, no Ghana CAD, no copies of court judgment and orders, Judicial Secretary, and also some other stories. A call for regional unity, that's on editorial. You can also check some stories on that as well. And banks urge to prominently display ACH direct credit services on digital channels. And Dr. Baumia charges campaign, so spoken about that. Ghana must not give up on the fight against violent extremism. That's also captured in the middle page as well. And, that's going to be pretty much, before that, hundreds of parents, guardians besiege WAEC office premises in Sunyane. That's also captured over there. So those are stories you can find when you grab a copy of the New Finder today and read all about it. We're going to get into our substantive conversation, and this morning we're looking at the LGBTQ bill that has been passed by Parliament. Needs the president's signature to ensure that it becomes a law, but we'll get to that conversation. We're also going to be looking at SONA, and we'll pay attention to education. We'll look at the film industry. We'll look at the tourism, arts and culture industry as well. What exactly the president said that has been done already, and what you're looking forward to doing eventually if they're able to stay in power. And of course, we're looking at 2024, which has not ended yet. Right, so there's still more to be done. But the Ghana Water Limited has put this announcement over there, and I want to share with you, and then I'll introduce my guest in the studio, and then we'll move on. Now, it says that shutdown of Barekese Water Treatment Plant and Achiase Booster Station. Now, the management of Ghana Water Limited, Ashanti Region, hereby notifies the public of the intention to shut down the Barekese Water Treatment Plant and Achiase Booster Station on the 29th of February 2024, which happens to be today, and is going to continue on the 7th of March and the 14th of March 2024. Now, the shutdown is due to ECG's planned maintenance schedule, which will affect the production centers. Now, management regrets the inconvenience the challenge may have caused and advises customers to store and judiciously use water to avert any severe impact during the shutdown dates. All right, so that's what the Ghana Water Limited is asking all of us, those in those areas, especially in Ashanti Region, to be aware of. Barekese Water Treatment Plant and Achiase Booster Station will be shut down, and so please put that on your calendars and make sure that you're doing well to save water for yourself so that you don't go into any situation like that. Anyway, we'll get back into the studio, and in the studio this morning. Richard Manrubi is here. He's National Communications Team Member for the NDC. We're also going to be joined by Stallone Nyarko, who is also the National Communications Team Member, I beg your pardon, for the NPP. Who's also going to be joining us this morning here as well. In fact, they are both in the studio, so we're going to be getting into the conversations in a matter of minutes. But you can share with us your thoughts. Let us know what you think about our conversation today here on the show, and you can share that on our WhatsApp line is active. You can also do so on Facebook. We're streaming live as well, so you can also go there and share your thoughts with us. We'll be more than glad to read from you this morning. What do you make of the passage of the bill when it comes to LGBT? Are you still satisfied with what you heard the president say at SONA, especially on education and also on the film and arts and culture? Those are places that we'll be paying attention to today. So yesterday at the floor of Parliament, Parliament unanimously passed the Anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Now, after nearly 3 years of deliberation, Parliament has finally passed the highly contentious Anti-LGBTQ plus bill. The bill introduced in the House years ago was approved unanimously, and we're looking at as far back as 2021. And so it's what they actually state as Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021. Now, the big thing is this: the president would have to assent to it to make it a law. Now, there are some groups that have come out, about 18 of them that have come out and are challenging this very bill, and they say that they're going to repeatedly speak about it until the president, refused to assent his signature to it. So we'll get there. We'll get there. But let me introduce my guest in the studio. And Stallone is here. Richard is here. Richard, how are you doing? Good to see you.
I hope you're doing good.
I'm very well, thank you. I'm good.
Super good.
I'm good. I mean, you can complain.
Let me say good morning to you and good morning to Sheriff Duwes and the good people in Quanta South constituency and occasion. And good morning to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the incoming President of the Republic of Ghana, who is coming to leverage the economy of this nation, who is going to restructure the economy and make sure Ghana works again. And I'm happy to meet my brother here. I've been looking for him for the past 10 years.
Oh, is it?
Yes, I can find him anytime. He hardly pick calls. Let me put it on records. Nyarko, Stallone, so let me say good morning to you. We have a very good relationship. We are back. I don't know whether it still stands though.
He's always my brother. Richard will always be a brother.
Anyway, but yeah, he's a very good friend of mine. So I hope that we have a fruitful conversation here as time goes on.
Absolutely. Stallone, how are you doing?
KMJ, good morning again. And once again, let me say, send greetings to your viewers, particularly those of them in the Ablekuma West constituency, our able representative, Mrs. Lagiftuso Kufo, and the good people of Ablekuma West and its environs. Let me say good morning to them. Like you say, it's a great morning here. We've come here to talk about matters affecting our nation, and we are confident that we'll have a fruitful discussion. My brother Richard is wondering if we are still brothers. We go way back. we go a lot beyond politics. Yeah, so he's forever. There are certain things I do not go against. That's fraternity. It's always a brother. So I'm happy to meet him here.
Okay. All right. Very well.
You know, he has been infiltrating my constituency.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
That's a good one. Anyway, so we're going to take a look at this video, and then when we come back, we'll get into the conversation. Take a look at this.
3 years for this bill to go through Parliament and finally passed. Civil society organizations and some human rights organizations have railed against this bill, warning that this could spell doom for Ghana's democracy. But Parliament has unanimously today approved this bill. There was not a single voice that voted in opposition to this bill on the floor today. It was not without some controversy. The majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, pleaded with the Speaker to allow him some more time to move some further amendments to the bill because the sponsors had moved some earlier today.
Mr. Speaker, I humbly pray that you grant me leave, which leave would allow me to formally file some amendments I have to this bill. But the sponsors themselves again and again filed amendments. Please, let's be fair. The sponsors themselves...
Ignore them, make your point.
The sponsors themselves again and again filed amendments. Please hear me. Please accommodate me. I'm not the only one who is coming with an application for second consideration. This is the third time that the sponsors themselves have come to this house for second consideration. The third time. Twice on notice, one without notice. So, Mr. Speaker, it wouldn't be out of place to pray, to be accommodated, to enable me file my amendments. Mr. Speaker, I believe that instead of going viva voce, instead of using the extempore approach, if I file and it's same appear on the other paper and members are able to read, they will get a sense of my point, and then we'll be able to have a law that all of us would appreciate its import. Mr. Speaker, should we hurriedly suspend the rules and say that we are past it?
Well, the NDC were clearly opposed to that, and the Speaker of Parliament himself will not acquiesce to that demand.
Speaker, our colleague, the Majority Leader, just asked for a prayer. In the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, the Bible says that to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. And I believe the time for the third reading of this bill is now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Put the question.
So the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, put the question on this controversial anti-gay bill, and it passed.
I'm going to put the question. I'm going to put the question that the motion has been moved and seconded. And I left it for your consideration. You've made your point. And it's not for me to take the decision, it's for the House to take the decision. And so I put the question. Those in favor that the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021 be taken through the third reading, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021 is read the third time and passed.
An act to provide for human sexual rights and family values and related matters.
Following this, lead sponsor of the bill, Sam Nate George, says he expects that President Akufo-Addo will sign this bill into law immediately.
It is our belief that this will be communicated from the Speaker's Secretariat expeditiously to His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It is our hope, our prayer, and belief that President Akufo-Addo will be a man of his words and stick to the words he spoke to the Anglican Church in the Eastern region when he said, under his watch, LGBTQ will not be established. When he gave...
All right, so that's what happened in the floor of Parliament yesterday. But like I said, you can also send your messages to us and let us know what you think about it. Let me start off with you, Richard. Did you see this coming yesterday? It's been 3 years.
Well, I think that let me congratulate the members of parliament who actually championed this homosexuality. It's a proper woman sexual life.
Human sexual rights
and what is it?
Values.
Family values. I think that prior to this, each and every ordinary Ghanaian is on record that is against homosexuality, gayism, and lesbianism. It's actually not in favor of our culture. It's immoral in our culture. It's obvious. Growing as our parents and our families, we know about the Sodom and Gomorrah thing, that nobody actually supported the idea of that kind of act as a nation, and even in Africa. I think some of the African countries have also passed the same laws, and they prohibited the homosexuality. But I think for some 3 years now, the Parliament of Ghana has almost championed. I think there are about 11 members or something that have tried to put in this bill. So you ask whether I've seen it coming. I think if you look at the civil society, religious bodies and those, everybody has contributed into this bill, and everybody was against it. I know particularly that they will definitely have to pass this bill to enact it as a law, because none of the ordinary Ghanaians, even members of parliament, if you look at from day one, the proceedings and the involvement in this, everybody has been very, very careful of this law so that they will not, because if you look at the public opinion, nobody wants it to be, nobody wants this law. Nobody wants this kind of act as a nation. So I believe that it's in order that Parliament has passed this law, and then we have to take a proper swift enaction of the law. Now, the onus lies to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Parliament, the legislators have done their own. What it means is that members of Parliament that represent us, my member of Parliament, your member of Parliament, and Stallone's member of Parliament, has said no to LGBTQ. It means that they've also consulted the people in their constituencies. They consult people in their electoral areas. They consult the length and breadth of the people, and their people says no. So what it means is that the larger number of Ghanaians are saying no. But see, KMJ, there's something that happened yesterday. Yesterday, I was going to one of the stations, and I think I have about some 10 minutes to go. So I was sitting with some friends, young guys, and then when this law was passed, a gentleman, I was around also, passed a statement in Tree. And this is what we have to look at. He said, you see, it means that in as much as we pass this law, even though we know it is illegal, but there's some of the people, the younger, who are also hiding behind, not supporting this bill, thinking that it's a human right for somebody to choose what to do and what not to do. It's improper as our culture. But you see, passing this law, we have much responsibility to do as well. How do we sensitize the public of the immorality of this act? A lot of people don't even understand. People still believe that, look, it is me, I choose to do this, what is your business? And you know that it has been something that is a hidden secret in Africa and Ghana as a whole. But KMJ, we have to also look at the critical quantum. The sponsors who are now entitled to 3 years to 5 years jail term, how do they infiltrate in the system? Do we look at that? But I've not read the law, the motions that were passed and the corrections. But I know that a lot of the sponsors, also not Ghanaians, that are not part of this country, but they find a way to influence the system. Can we look at the IT system? The e-gayism, that's one. E-gayism, that means that word. Stallone and the mother, they say they are the digital queens. The e-gayism. You know, people use internet. Much of the people don't use internet to educate the public on this LGBTQ. Stallone, how do you do restrictions on our internet system for the people, for us to infiltrate, have a carve to make sure that people don't get access into the new media?
Exactly.
Other countries that we know, other countries, the moment you arrive in the country, I don't have the opportunity to travel all over the world as Stallone does, because I see him always all part of the world. The moment you get into the airport, there are restrictions of some apps, restrictions of some internet accessibility.
Yes, even Dubai.
Yes, even Dubai. That you can't get access to it. Yes. Can we look at something? If you even look at our cartooning system today, I did media, I'm a communication specialist, I know about new media. If you look at our cartooning system today, it is purely teaching even the young ones how lesbianism and gayism is, they educate them, they side their mind. So before they will even grow, they won't see anything. Look, these things are things that we must look. And people, even, I think, off record, were saying something. There might in future be a review of it. Because look, growing up in my community, my parents told me that the most highest crime in my community is someone taking alcohol. Yes, you can't dare do that. If you even take alcohol in my village, before you get to the house, you must take your bath outside before you get to the compound. But today, KMG, go and see there's a drinking spot in my village.
Yeah.
The same village.
The same village. Yeah. There's a drinking spot in my village. Yeah. So we, in as much as we pass the law, if you want to make sure that we carve this thing out of the system, we must have proper education of eradication of the system. Making sure we strike the mind of the youth, strike the mind of the people, let them know that, look, it's a crime, number one. This is the health implication. This is the moral implication. And this is what you must end your life with when you get yourself involved. Celebrating of the passing of the bill, KMG, it is good we pass the bill. But we have a lot to do as a country to make sure, look, you know, most now a lot of people are saying, a lot of CEOs as civil societies are saying they're going to court.
About 18 of them.
They're going to, 18 of them are going to court. KMG, you might care to know that. Why are they going to court? Are these people involved in any activity? And I'm not sure these people that are going to court to go and face the court of competent jurisdiction are even involved in LGBTQ. They are not. Yeah. But I feel that it's a human right. I see that the highest crime. But how do you strike the people? In this life, we pass criminal codes laws that will go to. We know there are so many criminal codes laws. Even most of the anti-corruption agencies or these crime-prone agencies we pass so many laws. But how is the enactment of the laws? These are the things we should be looking at. So we have a lot to do as a nation. But then, all boiled down to the president. I believe that, as some just said, the president must be a man of his words, because when he went to Eastern region, he said that not under his watch that he will sit down to let this bill, to let Ghanaians involved in LGBTQ. So I believe that the president must assent to it, and the law enforcement agency have the huge responsibility. KMG has a real responsibility to make sure that they work and act according to the law. Not that when the law is enacted and you are caught and go to police station, the police say, bring something, let us grease our palm and let us do. So it's a lot to do as a nation, as a country. But I think that international community has also picked up this and they are all watching. But let us be Ghanaians and know that it has been a crime from day one and we don't want it. Now the law has passed. Let us stay out of it. Nobody should promote it. Nobody should get himself involved. Let's pray morality as a nation and we'll get a proper health for ourselves.
Okay, very well. Stallone.
KMJ, and thank you. I'm glad we are having some very, very objective discussions. Listening to my brother, you could see the whole trend of this discussion. But foremost, let me put it on record. President Akufo-Addo has, on more than one occasion as president, reaffirmed the position of Ghana, of the Ghanaian people, on homosexuality.
The ANC thinks that he hasn't done enough, especially with the latest one that the former president, went out and say that he's against it, but he's waiting for the president to come out again and
you see the NDC, and for me, I always say that when we come on these platforms,
Masala, it will be good to discuss this out of politics.
I'm only coming there, and I'm setting a premise.
Sure
I'll put it there. Because I'm happy with the angles he's brought in, and that is how we should look at most of these pertinent national discussions. And like I said, that the president has, on more than one occasion, reaffirmed the stance of the people of Ghana on homosexuality, KMJ. And I remember the latest of them was in the wake of this office that was opened by some EU elements, this supposed gay office. He went to Mampong during the ordination of one bishop, a religious cleric, and stated emphatically, repeated again, that they will not be under his watch, that homosexuality and same-sex marriages will be legalized. KMJ, back to the crux of the matter. And like I've said, what are we looking for? We are all worried about the level of penetration of these activities in our society. So what is our objective? Do we really want to curb what we are describing as a menace today, do we really want to clamp down on it? If that is our objective, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It appears very typical of us. We want to solve problems with problems, and nobody should misquote me. As we sit in this studio today, there is no home, there is no area in this country where me, when you go there, my name is Kofi Nyarko, can say my brother Richard is handsome. So, Rich, go to my parents and say, I want to marry Richard. No home, no setting in this country of ours would entertain any thought. So you dare not. What do I mean? Our culture, our traditions, our axioms, our systems have already dealt decisively with the menace of homosexuality. It has. And that is why the premise I put out initially, that is why there is no way I can go and even think, even if I am inclined to distance, even think about going on the route of marrying or having anything to do with my brother seated on my hands. The same way, women, the same way. We heard about this soupy thing years ago. They've always been with us. But today, just as we have done, our traditional cultural institutions, there is no home, there is no area that a woman can boldly step out and say, this is my wife. Yes, I agree, it's penetrating into a moral fiber. So what is the best route? What do I think is the best way to get results? My brother has hinted to that. Those structures that are ensured that we all stuck to this stance of no homosexuality in our space, we should not go back on them. The moral suasion, the cultures, the traditional institutions, that age-old traditional institutions that have always shown us the way, that you cannot come and do these kind of things here in our midst. It's what we must strengthen. You know what we have done, and I'm saying it. Let me put it here on record. That law that was passed yesterday, it's nothing short of an extra carriage on the gravy train, very typical of us. Gravy train, we are only adding bureaucratic and legal phases to some of these very important matters. That's what we are doing. Because if we are really interested in curbing this, we should go to those structures that have tackled it properly. How well are we making our chiefs aware that, you are those who have been custodians of our tradition for centuries. For years, you are those who have held the fort and ensured that some of these things do not thrive. What do you call it? National House of Chiefs. How well have you positioned them to take the lead in some of these matters? KMJ, people who practice homosexuality do it in our bedrooms. They do it in secrecy. Law and enforcement deals with what? Evidence. You get the point I'm making. So if you want to really tackle this, tomorrow, I will meet somebody on the street and say, oh, I suspect you are this, you are that. So I want to come at you. Without evidence, no law, no court, or no law enforcement agency will give you audience. It would end up just on the books. There's already law against unnatural carnal knowledge on our statute books that prescribes everything about a man and a man having sexual intercourse. There is law. There's existing legal regime that prescribes it. So just as the majority leader was on the floor of parliament, and let's state it clearly, you see, let's shun the hypocrisy that is killing this nation in every facet. That is what is taking us down this road. You go and sit there for 3 years and you are deliberating matters on homosexuality. I'm sorry. I was born in Accra, I always tell you this. Some of the people who do these things are doing them out of economic convenience. I know you are aware. Some of them, there are only few people in our setting who want to do homosexuality because they feel it's a way of life. It's not gained prominence amongst us. So let's tackle the matters from the roots. And you know the irony. The irony is this bill is led by Sam Nete George. And I heard his concluding remarks that the president should be a man of his words. Let me tell President Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, if there's anything that has protected you in the wake of your strife, and I was saying it off record, is how much you have stuck to the principles you believe in all through. And I'm saying this from the strongest conviction I can put up. If there's anything that has kept that man afloat, it's how much he has stuck to all of the principles he's believed in right from get-go in politicking. Sam Nete George, you are MP for Ningo Pram Pram. If there's anything you have to champion vociferously in our setting today, it is not bills against LGBTQ. Where you come from, your backyard, you come from Ningo, there are thousands of young people out there who cannot find jobs. You are a young person yourself. How many pro-youth employment legislations have you championed? Sam Nete George. 2015, you were on record, public television, saying that those who are castigating and speaking against LGBTQ, discussing it in the media, are wasting their time. And take note of the word he used, waste, mean their time. And although not what he thinks homosexuality is not something that should be allowed, but spending time discussing it is a waste of time. Then he was in opposition. You understand?
Well, was it not because we were giving too much attention to it?
2015, he was in government.
Sorry, he was in government. Sorry. Then he was in government. Sorry.
And he reiterated, a couple of times that he doesn't have a problem with people doing what they want to do in their rooms. But his problem is when people come out and make you believe that this is what we accept. So every other person should.
KMJ, in 2015, the people were coming out. If you followed this thing very well, all of us are alarmed. I'm telling you. And let me state here. You see, people take the Ghanaian resolve for granted. I've told you, and you followed our history. There's no way any cultural setting of ours here today will accept homosexuality. Never. What we have done to yesterday is rather pushing us to a possibility. And I told you off air that while we were deliberating the law against LGBTQ, our parliament was relaxing laws on weed production. Weed production. KMJ, that's the irony. The same frame that we will pass a law recently that will allow industrial production of what? Weed. So you see the irony.
So we'll get to a point where LGBT...
That is what we have thrown ourselves into. That is the frame we've thrown ourselves into. So many years ago, we had rigid laws. So that's my point. Do not bring these critical matters up for legal gymnastics. Don't do it. It's too costly and risky. And let me say it. I'm saying it with all of the strength I can amass, that we have proven that we have potent tools to deal with this issue. When you immediately put it on the statute books, just like all of the other happenings, what people say, you are discrimination, all forms of discrimination. In South Africa, there were periods where black people and white people could not sit on the same place. All of those. Years down the line, people realize that these your laws are anti-human. So that is where you have taken us. Where we are now, natural canology is not stated black and white. But you are taking us in those realms.
So this is going to push more activists.
That is what you have done. Now they have basis. Hitherto, and I'm a little hesitant going into this layer of strategy. Hitherto, we've stated unnatural. We know what unnatural canon is. We, as a people, we knew what unnatural, and then our leaders had reaffirmed. We don't want this. But you come to our statute books, you cannot find anything talking about the LGBTQ. Today, you have put it clearly in your statute books. You understand? So you've given room for what you are seeing. See, they are going to court. And then there will be activism and in the wake of the global trends. My point is, let's be frank with ourselves. And that is why I advise Sam Nete George. He should halt his brakes on these things. The president should be a man of his words. What man hasn't been?
What the president assent to this?
That is for him. We, the people of Ghana, gave him executive. Our representatives say they want this law. I told you that when it comes to these matters, candor and sincerity is important. I'm sure he might be under compulsion to assent to it. But if you ask me, it's an overkill. Completely. It's an overkill. Our culture, our systems have dealt with homosexuality. And I was telling somebody the other time that naturally the Ghanaian is polygamous. You are naturally what? Polygamous. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's one of the things we must rather advocate for.
So you see, teach the children. My brother at home is there. He's asking me that, are we thinking about legalizing homo? He has never asked me that question. Richard.
Very well. Let me take some comments and then we'll move on to the next conversation. But you can still send your messages to us. We just ended the conversation on the LGBTQ, and so you can also express your sentiment on that. We're moving on to SONA after I've gotten some messages out of the way. and we'll be looking on education, we'll be looking at tourism, arts and culture. We'll put some attention on the film industry as well. The president made some very, good statements with regards to the state of those areas. And so we want to see if indeed it is what it is. So let's get some messages. This one says, good morning, host. Yesterday there was a doomsaw from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. But they don't want to accept that we are still in doomsaw. In fact, if Ghanaians give the NPP 16 years cry, they would blame COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war, and we will continue suffering. Chia Solo in Katamanso sent in that. This one says that it's an insult to me for the NPP to ask me to vote for Bawumia, a man who has promised heaven but has given hell to Ghanaians. A man who claims to be economist and has run the economy into coma, has run away from economics and now claims to be in digitization. What a shame. Charles Champon sent in that. This one says that Alhaji KMJ, please, can Bawumia still tell us what his stance on this bill? I'm Adams from Kanda Highway. Okay, when did I become Alhaji, by the way? Good morning, host. You have a good job for Mother Ghana. During the State of Nation address, Nanado mentioned Keta London Beach. Meanwhile, there's nothing like that. We, the good people of Keta, you meant to say, we're sending a strong warning to Nanado and Bawumia. They joke with us. It seems Nanado is sleeping on the job. In the 2024 election, we are ready to boot out super incompetent Nana and Bawumia. We mean business. Abochi Philip from Keta sent in that as well. I'm sure Stallone would react to that. Good morning, Mr. Host. So finally, LGBT is bound to happen by again. We thank God for saving Ghana from Akufo-Addo bound to happen LGBTQ. And if that is the case, then NPP living power in 2024 is also going to be possible. Great Honorable Haruna Idrisu, popularly known as Sawali or Gandu, to pack from Tamale, sent in that. Very well, to pack. Good morning, KMJ and your panelists. KMJ, do you notice how the Almighty Honorable Sam George, calm and submissive in his speech on seeking for the president to assent to the bill? Now that the NDC has kicked against Andrew Solomon interest, who would fund JM campaign? I'm in bed with the president, Rashid West, sent in that. Interesting. Mr. Host, please ask the NPP man that we need IV for commissioning of National Cathedral on 6th of March 2024. Please, can I use my Ghana card to buy a car to the NPP? Okay, he's asking if you can use his Ghana card to buy a car.
So the commission is on 6th March, yeah?
Yeah.
So we'll be there.
You are.
Yes, we'll be there.
You just came here. You see how fast and rush the minority have passed the LGBTQ bill. They know we are on the IMF program, so they want to see if the president will sign it or not, so that it will bring problem between Ghana and the international community. But the majority was also part. The speaker asked those who are in favor should say
everybody.
Nobody said no.
No, yes, everybody.
It means that everybody in the parliament has agreed to this. Why are you making it a minority issue now? In any case, everybody in Ghana doesn't support the LGBTQ, but the content of the bill is what some of us want to talk about it. You want to jail the person and send the person to prison, right? Can you imagine what will happen over there? I pray for my mother.
Exactly. That's another critical point. Yeah.
But that issue was also brought.
But yes, you want to go and put homosexuals behind bars? Yeah. It's a very critical point they are raising there.
Interesting. Good morning, KMJ. We are well pleased with the passing of the LGBTQ plus bill in Ghana, despite our differences in political affiliation. We are all well convinced that both parties are against what society frowns upon it and considers to be impure and immoral. Though some MPs were not in favor of the bill, they were not able to move against the motion for the fear of losing their seat. Akufo-Addo promised to not to allow LGBTQ plus to function under his watch as president of Ghana. Bawumia will be the next president of Ghana ahead of Mahama because it's predestined for him to lose the third term. Richard Manrubi, Presby contest, he sent in that. Let me see what we have here. Okay, let me go to the next one. Good morning. With all due respect, the guy in the white long sleeve, Stallone, you mean, is actually spilling. Okay, excuse my words. How do you think he's? Indeed, the truth hurts, but if a whole central government is not able to employ young and brilliant people of Ghana, who is Sam George, a wrong guy on national TV, shaking my head. This one is a very long one. Okay, let me. Good morning, KMJ panelists. Please, what's the NATO MPP man talking about? What Sam George said yesterday wasn't a lie, because the president once said it's bound to happen. And moreover, Nana also said that he ain't going to sign any private member bill that will cost the nation. So Sam George hits the nail right on its head. The NPP man's behavior is simply that of the new NPP leader in parliament. UK one at Tibioko, who sent in that as well. Hi, good morning. In fact, the guy in the white, Stallone is his name, is speaking the truth. Most young Ghanaians are into gay activities just to earn a living. No employment for the youth. I'm Hazan Wagbu from Naregu Northeast region. This one says, hi, host. So upon all the issues we face as a nation, all our MPs could do is to channel their energies into passing LGBT bill. What at all is this bill going to cure? I suggest we rather orient persons who engage in this ill and able acts to change their ways. Amino in Sawem. Actions, they say, speaks louder than words. The NPP is not in support of the bill. And this one over here says, good morning, KMJ and the panelists. Teacher trainees in all the 46 public colleges now receive 149 Ghana cedis as a month monthly allowance. At the end of the year, each trainee will receive 849, and it's 149 times 894, I beg your pardon, and it's 149 times 6. The interesting is that gone are the days people were paying their fees and building houses with their allowance. The 899 Ghana cedis cannot even pay 2 semesters exams fees. Teacher trainees are not only suffering, as alluded to by one Wale Adam Smith, but dying slowly. But Walaya is not the option. Ilapin,
yeah,
Kelvin from Dambai College of Education.
He's from
You
the
must know this
backyard.
man. You know him, man.
Yeah, from his backyard.
Oh,
Yeah, I know him.
Good morning, KMJ. It's pathetic how confused and hypocritical we live. The law is powerless to change anyone. What is LGBTQ+++? How do you legislate law against victims of purposes of God? The God we have chosen to worship today rather than our abandoned gods created them that way. So why victimize them rather than help them? Will you send your child to the police if she tells you she's lesbian or gay? Good morning. MPP is 1 trillion times better than NDC. We don't have short memory to vote the NDC again. Kweku say Osapo in Wager sent in that. This one is a birthday which will be done later by Siedua, so just hold on to that. Okay, so let me just go ahead and do some of the birthday wishes as well. This one says that have the happiest leave birthday year birthday, an extra day to dream, to achieve, and to make a leap towards your goals. Enjoy your day, Kwame from Efia Debbie. Those who are celebrating their birthday.
I'm told it's celebrated
Every 4 years, yeah.
So they are going to wait till that.
To the next 4 years.
Another.
Wow.
It's quite unfortunate for them.
Yes.
They didn't cause it. So that's
Every
the
4
man
years.
is waiting for. Good morning to you and your guests. Please tell the NPP man that they can pretend to support the bill and again appear to support the same bill. But for the Dr. Intim Forjo, who is a sponsor and a member of the NPP, almost all the NPP parliamentarians are against this bill, and I urge them to continue. Their posture will definitely have a negative consequence on the NPP going into election 2024. Abbas Haruna from Kumawu sent in that. And the next one over here says the new anti-LGBTQ+ bill will help us as citizens to build our culture. In fact, this SONA will change our country for us. If they launched the performance tracker, I beg Ghanaians, let's vote for Dr. Bawumia to continue the good works of the NPP government. The NDC 24-hour economy is a scam. Great Honorable Mavis, our MP for ASEC, and the MEC for ASEMA for movement in Kasua as well. Good morning. The number one fashionist in the media. The bill is to affirm our culture, our heritage. I don't know about you, but I'm worried about the growing numbers of the unemployed and underemployed youth in Ghana every day as I tour across the length and breadth of the country. I see young and energetic people wasting off their productive time. This is a serious national security risk. Please let us rise up and help each other. It is serious. Ghana youth, arise. Nana Kwesi Odame. And you sent in that one. Good morning, host. I think the NPP guy has spoken well today about LGBTQ. Aaron from Somia sent in that one. He didn't mean today because what really? Thanks to read my message. Moses from Lagos. My IVO, I'm coming down this week. Okay, please come. We're waiting for you. Sami Samwache. In as Marcus, it says, when you compare NPP to NDC, the NPP is far better than the incompetent ones. The passing of the LGBTQ yesterday was very laudable, and it will check the unlawful Ghanaians. Let's continue, believe, and trust that Dr. Bawumia is the best to replace Nana Akufo-Addo. Regards to Honorable Charles Echampong, the MP for Asman Kesi and Frank Esiedu Bequin, a.k.a. Protozua, the next MP for Sudum. All right, so those are some of the messages you've sent to us this morning. You can continue to send us more here on the show. Now we're moving to SONA, and we're taking our attention to
I need to clear something.
Okay,
yes.
Quickly.
So I think that I buy the idea. I side with Stallone to some extent, but to say that some judge will have championed the youth policies rather than LGBTQ is something unacceptable. I don't think that it has been fair to him. Because these are agitations of the Ghanaian population. And I think some judges, not only the MP that even started this private member bill, other members of parliament were also involved. And I think that if you even look at the minority side in parliament, if you see that they've always been concerned about unemployment, that's what somebody even said that, look, you admitted that most of the people get themselves involved in this LGBTQ because there's no job. We are aware the rate of unemployment rate. So we have been advocating, and he has been doing that not only that, the private member bill, we are also concerned about the youth, and we are making sure that any measures that the members of parliament, our minority side, has been talking to the president. We every day raise concern about unemployment rate in this country, not only the private member bill that we has raised concern. It's a challenge we face as a nation, and we must take a critical look at that and see how best Ghanaians, ordinary Ghanaian, has to leverage. So, KMJ, I'm telling you, I have worked with National Youth Employment for 8 years. I think I have a senior officer, right down from President Mills, I was there, President John Dramani Mahama, I was there. When we came to meet the National Youth Employment Program, what I got to realize about this country is that the young ones didn't even really talk about salary. It's just somewhere to wake up and go. And that has been the major problem in this country. So it's important we also champion the youth unemployment rate and bring measures on a table to see how best we can quickly solve that problem. The voice of whoever is in power. Okay. Yes, than to say that people are not concerned about that.
Very well. Now we'll move on to the it's a SONA.
We'll make progress.
We'll make progress. I like that. We'll take a look at the film industry. So there's 20% tax rebate that the president spoke about. Take a listen to this when I come back. My guest in the studios will get into it.
Speaker, government through the National Film Authority is committed to supporting the production of world-class content and films, as well as increasing the cinema infrastructure in Ghana and by extension on the continent. To this end, a favorable fiscal tax regime for cinema projects, including income tax and VAT incentives, import duties, exemptions on film production equipment, 20% tax rebate for strategic film productions and film financing reliefs, is being elaborated by Cabinet, which will be outlawed very soon and should provide another tangible reason for the choice of Ghana.
All right, so that's His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic, speaking over there. A lot of grammar, but in a nutshell.
Like in my head.
That took you. So, 20% tax rebate for the film industry. Stallone, this is a good thing that a lot of filmmakers will be excited about. But you see, then again, it's about execution of some of these things that matters. At the end of the day, he's got like this year to make some of these things happen. How are we looking at this?
KMJ, if there's any precedent in the Fourth Republic that has shown perhaps bold commitments, that has shown some of the boldest commitment towards developing our creative arts and tourism sector, you cannot go beyond President Akufo-Addo. Right from get-go, and you could see, and I mentioned the famous year of return, how it's gained traction. And these are products of deliberate leadership decisions that I see the tourism potential here. I see the historical, the rich history of my country. Let me go out on the globe and then remind people of this extraction, people in the diaspora that have a huge tourism potential here. Come and then share in your heritage with all of us. And you see what the Year of Return has given us. It is President Akufo-Addo that has brought life to our only National Museum. Another elsewhere regime, it was deteriorating. The National Museum there today is working. The Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, and I'm sure you see its current state, there appear to be some, I don't know what to call it, fits President Akufo-Addo surface. He is the president who has set out to perhaps tackle every problem that as a people we had been complaining of from time immemorial. Roads. Our biggest challenge here as a country today is our road network. I'm dovetailing it, I'm bringing it to the point of the creative art industry, because all of these things go hand in hand to ensure that we have a buoyant and vibrant creative art sector. Roads. Before he became president, the statistics from our roads industry will tell you that only 23% of the entirety of Ghana's road network had been paved. Today, in 7-8 years, he's built on record more than 11,000 kilometers of roads. If President Akufo-Addo had not become president, the entirety of our western region would never have seen an interchange. The entirety of our northern region would never have seen an interchange. I was telling you, you choose to call it whatever. But it tells you, and I've said it before, I've said it here, there was a whole district in Kwame Nkrumah's Republic of Ghana that had never seen coup d'etat until Akufo-Addo became president. Adaklu. Ironically, it's in your own backyard, the stronghold of the NDC. Adaklu. The entirety of the Adaklu district.
Someone challenged that the last time.
He only refers to a portions of bad routes. But listen to me carefully. The entirety, I mean, the whole district.
You're looking at the whole place.
The whole district had never seen tarred routes. The first ever tarred routes that Adaklu district has.
But there are still others that are.
They are not that. I'm only trying to tell you that from 23%. That means from Kwame Nkrumah to Akufo-Addo, you had only 23% of your road network paved.
So what percentage are we on?
Well, I'll check the statistics. I don't want to quote off my head. But then, if you check on top of your head, you can see bold investment in our road sector. The famous Accra to Kumasi road. We were children from time memorial when people were shouting, dualize the road, dualize the road. Several presidents had come. Nobody had actioned it. It's President Akufo-Addo that is working on it there. You can see. Expanding the Pokwasi to Nsawam stretch, already the dual stretch from Apidja to other portions. Osino, Konogo. So dualization will happen under President Akufo-Addo.
How swift?
It's there, you can see.
Because it's been there for a while.
First ever modern trains in our country. We had heard about rail transport. The project just started, I think, a year or two ago. And if you look at the volume of work,
that place is very prime.
Which year was the year of roads?
Every year, you see, sometimes when you ask yourself that, today, can you tell me sincerely that when it comes to the road sector, you can disprove of the performance of this government? You cannot. Not just rail transport. We had spoken, was lyrical. Ghana should be doing rail transport. Today, we are getting modern trains. They are almost on our shores here. That will be plying the rail system. What I want to tell you is, President Akufo-Addo has a concerted program, and just as he's speaking about tax incentives for the film industry, we promised to build theaters for the movie industry. I'm sure.
Which didn't happen.
No, but I'm sure if you've heard about it, it is still under consideration, still going to be done. Our mandate has not been exhausted. You understand? You
have how many months to do that now? You think after 7 years, the remaining months you have can achieve all of that?
If a government that has shown all of this, that's why I premised my submission on this point. That has shown this level of commitment to the creative art industry. The level of investment into the creative art industry is telling you that I'm still committed to doing this. You are better assured than a regime under whose watch Dunso killed our movie industry. Everybody knows. 4 years after 4 years of John Mahama Mohammed's government, our movie industry was in a comatose. It was dead. You know it. I follow you. I know you understand this creative art.
But after that period, we expected that things would have gotten
something that had shot up. Remember before?
You're aware that most of the creative art industry players are not excited.
They will not be, because events that have happened will not make them excited, because something that had shot to its peak. Remember, it got to a point where Ejaku was the Ejaku, and then the Kuma wood industry was one of the most sought after avenues when it came to movie production. Shelley Frimpong Manson and all of those movies they were producing. Ghanaians had gone back to
they all did this without support from government.
Yes, I'm talking about the environment. Doomsaw killed it. That's the point I'm making. When immediately after 4 years of
what have we seen?
My point is, it will take you time. So we are putting in the structures. Seen year of return, you've seen the drive towards tourism and creative arts, the investment there. So it will take you some time to revive it. Something you killed this much, you cannot revive it overnight. KMJ, that's the point I'm making. So when President Akufo-Addo says, we are still, and you heard him, you see, people are fond of misquoting him. He said, cabinet is still considering. It's still at cabinet level. He's giving a State of the Nation's address. The cabinet is still considering a 20% tax rebate. And sometimes I'm surprised. Not just creative arts, anything that has got to do with harnessing talents. This is the same president that has built more sporting facilities than every other under the Fourth Republic. So the record is there. And more sporting facilities, he knows it. He's worked with the National Youth Authority before, like he does youth employment. He knows what I'm saying. That all of the 10 sports, what do you call the resource centers, the youth resource centers, the stadium-like facilities, 6 of them have been completed from just 2 AstroTurfs before 2017. Today, to over 100 AstroTurf facilities and counting. 100? Over 100, yes. Over 100.
I think it was 40 that was mentioned.
No, you can check the latest statistics. From 2.
No, it do little at various stage of...
No. Richard, over 100 have been completed. And you can check, over 100.
I don't have that data though, so...
Over 100 AstroTurf pitches from just 2 we had across the country. And today, premiership sites, after the closure of the Tamale Stadium, for renovation. Your own former minority leader, Chief Haruna Idrisu, has resorted to the Sheriga AstroTurf for his premiership club. KMJ, you see, I've said somewhere that we will come to the Ghanaian people with our case in 2024. We will present the facts. It is a very tricky period for all incumbent governments across the globe, like I always say. The British Prime Minister recently announced that Britain had hit a recession. Almighty Great Britain. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard.
Yeah.
Yes. It is not good time for any government today. But when you compare the record of President Akufo-Addo, the commitments he made, before he became president, the theme of our 2016 manifesto was change, an agenda for what? For jobs. So I am happy when I tell the young people of Ghana, we will be bemoaning the lack of employment opportunities in our space. Today, no government under the Fourth Republic has recruited more Ghanaians into the public sector than President Akufo-Addo. It's there. Even John Dramani Mahama's UPSC considered to it that President Akufo-Addo had engaged in unbridled recruitment in the public sector. Let me give you examples.
The unemployment rate is still high.
See, I keep telling you, President Akufo-Addo's problems are age-old problems. They are problems that had bedeviled us for years. You understand the point I'm making? For so many years. You will not be able to wish them away in 6-7 years. Let me give you a typical instance. Fire service. The fire service. Before President Akufo-Addo became president, fire service had only 7,000 men. From independence to him, to his era, 7,000 men. Today, his government alone has recruited 8,000 more fire personnel. One regime. So if you're a young man and woman at home, and you ever, or you dream of entering fire service, and you believe you can get in one day, your hopes or your chances of entering fire service is way higher if an MPP Bawumia, President Akufo-Addo Bawumia government still remains in power than any other regime. Immigration service, the same thing. Immigration service, the numbers there are even overwhelming, from a little over 2,000 today to 14,000.
So how swift is cabinet going to be looking at this? So that if there's a young man out there who wants to go into the film industry, he's now thinking about a 20% tax rebate, and so it gives him hope that I can get into this?
From the premise I've set, it's obvious. It's obvious that they are going to act swiftly. I'm sure before the president spoke, he chairs cabinets. He leads the delegations there. So he's seen that it's going to move. And then I'll commend him for the commitment. The whole idea is to build a very holistic environment. If I came here and I told you about rural telephony, taking data into the hinterlands. Now, people are saying movies are even going to be watched on our phones and whatnot. That is the drive. That is the eventual target. And I saw somebody ask if they can use their Ghana card to buy a car. KMJ, you see, let's educate people. Let's educate Ghanaians. Baumia has told you, and I know you are well versed in what happens in other terrains. The only difference between the hardship we are seeing here and those of the developed settings is systems. Like you can go there, although we are all bearing the brunt of the global economic situation. Those in the developed world, they just walk into shops and they pick items and they're able to pay them what? On credits. I'm sure you are aware. Their paychecks hits their accounts every month and then deductions are made. There are systems in place that ensure that everybody in a developed setting can be identified uniquely. So those who don't understand the import of the Ghana card, that's what the Ghana card is supposed to do. It is making sure that every Ghanaian can have a unique identity, maybe a number, like your Ghana card number today that has become your TIN, your tax identification number, you understand? So when we develop this system to that point and start building our credit score, you can go into a shop and say, okay, this is me, I earn this amount. We have the information on you, where you work, your salary levels and everything. Your Ghana card will show it. So just with a Ghana card, you can get a car, and that is the goal, that is the vision. But most of these laudable ideas often get lost in political propaganda. We are not deterred.
Okay.
We're going to move swiftly.
Richard.
KMJ, tourism is one of the ways to go as a nation. Fact is that any government or any country that try to invest more into their tourism sector, get a lot of revenue to develop their nation. And that's quite a free money that you get from the people, from tourists and people in diaspora, even our local domestic consumers in tourism. You make a lot of revenue. And then I think that most of the sectors that involve in, most of the sectors that we need to critically look at to make sure make much into revenue mobilization in tourism is three sectors, key sectors. One, communication ministry. Two, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Three, tourism ministry as its whole. I will not even argue because that's the main sector, the drive of tourism. And the Ministry of Information. In Ghana here, we have tourism information sector in this country. Are you aware? Just opposite the Jubilee House. And I don't know how we are using that sector to educate the public on tourism. President is talking about tourism and creative act. Look, even in tourism alone, when we want to invest much into tourism alone, I don't think we have problem because in Ghana, we have a lot of tourism sites in this country. And I'm bound to commend my brother for even calling the people in diaspora to come and invest in tourism in this country. I have much conversation with Ambassador Bennett, Erica Bennett, I don't want to know Her Excellency. Yeah, the diaspora of African Forum. He's much of driving the tourist sectors, tourism, and then other people in diaspora to come and invest to the country. I think just last week, even tomorrow, they have an award dinner. I was invited to attend. And I'm telling you, the year of return was a very good one. I will not dispute that fact. Because the economic drive we had and the year of return, even bringing people into the country to come and study our culture, way of living, and other things, it's one of the ways. But you see, every government has contributed tremendously to the tourism sector. Look, we have a place like Morley National Park. You know why I mentioned all these sectors? We have a place like Morley National Park. The NDC and President John Dramani Mahama invested huge in Morley National Park. And you know why? If you go to Morley National Park, it's at Larabanga, where the Damango is a Damango district. So at Morley National Park, you move at about 10 minutes walk from the gate, you meet the Mystic Stone. Then from the Mystic Stone, right after it, you have the Idana Ibrahim Mosque. That's called Larabanga Mosque. And the history behind all these things. I don't know whether you had opportunity of being to Morley National Park before.
I've been there.
Have you been there? You saw the motel.
Yeah.
And where President John Dramani Mahama also invested in the ecotourism sector. We went to Copenhagen. You are aware, we took about $150 million to invest in Red Plus program. And this Red Plus program, what we intend doing is at building, is it the peripheral at Achimota Forest. We're going to build the peripheral of Achimota Forest. We'll make it an ecotourism sector for more of the tourism sector because the zoo is just at the back of it. And all these things will generate revenue to the nation. I think you and I have even discussed of the disclassification of the Achimota Forest on this platform.
Yeah, last year.
Yes, this is the challenges we are facing as a nation. So I believe that, yes, it is good. The president also taken measures on it by reducing the tax incentives for them. But we should mainly focus on tourism before we look at the Creative Act. Creative Act is basically on the private sector, more into private sector, which I understand to create more jobs, direct and indirect jobs, you get a lot in there.
Yeah.
Yes, direct and indirect, you get more in there. But I believe that if you look at the measures, look, this is the government that promised that every region was going to get a theater. He has a theater just around this,
The Mirror.
When I was in the university, I did theater art, so I normally go there every Thursday on theater art. Then I can tell you, if you go there every Thursday now, you see the number of people.
Even what the likes of 50 plays putting together. Over 30-something
people are coming there.
You know.
So you even if you go to the cinema hall at Akamo, people actually patronize the tourism sector in this country as much as it is. But how are you investing into it? You go to a place like, I don't know, you know, the Bui National Park.
Yeah.
The third largest park in this country, which covers 3 regions in the country. KMJ, do you know that all these areas are being invaded in Galamsey operations? And this is where in the whole Africa you get hippopotamus, about thousands of them. Now all the hippopotamus have run away. What are we using the site for? KMJ, I use a place like Chabobo National Park. I don't know whether you've been to Chabobo National Park before. You try and go there. I know Stallone knows there. It's in Kwanta.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Chabobo National Park.
His backyard very well.
It is Chabobo National Park is a park that you get 99 species of butterfly.
I see.
Yes. And that is where the only breast mountain in the world is. I don't know if you've seen the breast mountain. This breast mountain is in Chabobo. It's around Keri, Kui.
I should visit
Yes.
there.
Yes.
You come to Keri.
And it shares a boundary with Fasua Malafakaza. The Fasua Malafakaza is just a boundary it has a Togo Forest Reserve and Ghana Forest. So it's a very large day where other animals even cross from Togo and come to Ghana. It's just in Kwanta there.
I see.
So how much do we invest in wildlife system there? Look at me. If you read the National Ministry of Land and Natural Resource Master Plan from 2015, I think it's a 10-year heritage plan they do.
Okay.
We're told that even in the forest reserve area, when you even do open system for the wildlife, you know, wildlife, they have open system where the poachers can now go and poach and kill the aged animals so that the young ones can also have time to grow. They will die. And do you know government of Ghana is making $41 million per annum for only open system? So when we try to invest into the tourism sector, much will get. But I think that if you say this government have done much, the government have not really looked at much investment into tourism sector.
Okay.
It's the year of return fine, I can attest to that. I think we got about 3.1 billion from year of return, which is quite good. But if you look at the measures the NDC has put in place in the previous government, you could see that we are able to get a lot of revenue in developing. Even going to look at the Bupe shea butter factory. I don't know whether you know Bupe shea butter factory. In the tourism sector, we discovered the Bupe limestone in the I don't know whether you know the Blackwater Lake, the very tourist sector. And today it's generating about $90 million for the government of Ghana. Just because we have now turned to those limestones into what? The Savannah cement. So these are the things we should be looking at. There's huge investment in tourism sector.
Okay.
And I think that when the government really want to look at the tax incentive, it's a good idea, but it should make sure it intensify the tourism sector, not only the creative art. Creative art is good. I mean, I remember when I was in the village, my mom always wanted to watch Adum TV because they do a lot of these Kumawood movies, and they know the village guy people. Normally, the majority of Ghanaians want to patronize the Kumawood and those things. So it's a critical look. But if you read our policy plans that we have, we are trying to put measures in place that will have tax incentive for all this. And these sectors are going to run well, and there will be a stabilization of the economy. We're going to invest more in the tourism sector. And President John Dramani Mahama has been echoing on that, and he's done it before. And I think that come January 2025, when he assumes office as President of the Republic,
we'll do more.
We'll speedily look at it. And then
Richard Manrubi has joined us this morning here on the show. National Communications Team member, NDC. Stallone Nyarko is National Communications Team member from the NPP. And this morning, the two of them joined us. And also your messages that came through, unfortunately, we couldn't read all of them, but we didn't have an early start, so forgive us. Thanks to the two of them sitting over here. We're done now. You came late.
You gave us 8 o'clock.
You came late. A quick one. This one says, I love the sparkle in your eyes and the beautiful smile you have when we are together. I want to be by your side to watch you celebrate many more birthdays. Lovingly, birthday, Suhaima. And this one is coming from your man, Yao Apientim, my own brother. Going out to you, Suhaima. Wherever you find yourself, a beautiful woman. God bless you. We love you. Today happens to be your birthday. Happy birthday going out to you. Why are you looking at me?
No, I'm just looking at how somebody will just be celebrating his birthdays only political election years.
I thought it's that. There's still more to come here on the show. Stay with us.